I hope you have an American Home Shield warranty. Leaky toilet? Fixed. Oven beyond repair? If AHS can't fix your covered item, then replace it, no matter its age. Sign up today at ahs.com.
Attention homeowners. Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your home worth less than you owe? If you answered yes to any of these questions.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, America, it's Sunday. We're coming to you straight from Washington, D.C.
We're live from the White House with breaking news.
Brian Glenn.
Yes. My question is, bringing you the stories that matter.
You're putting the American people first. Your thoughts on that?
Thank you. I like that question. Boy, I want more questions like that.
And the conversations you won't hear anywhere else.
It is a privilege to report from the White House.
Why don't you wear a suit? You own a suit?
I think he's a great guy, by the way.
A superstar in the media world, Brian Glenn.
Trump was right about everything.
Mr. President, I'll take one.
Brian, you're not a suit.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
It's Sunday in America with real America's voice. Now, here's your host, Brian Glenn.
All right, it is a fresh week here at the White House. Now, we've got a big schedule today. Now, this is the first week that President Trump has been back from the Middle East trip, so there's so much on the agenda today. Everything from really the fallout from last night's vote with the big, beautiful bill. We've got a press conference here at 9 o'clock. There's some other things of note on here. Later today, the President and First Lady. There's some other things of note on here. Later today, the President and First Lady will participate in a bill signing. I'll give you a preview of that here in just a second. Also, he participates in a law enforcement act as well. And then, of course, tonight at there's a Kennedy Center board meeting right here at the White House. But right over there is a very special individual that is a part of a big legislation, as a big initiative from Melania Trump, the Take It Down Act. We're going to talk to her and get her thoughts on what is so important to protect people's privacy. So later today in the Oval Office, President Trump is going to sign a big piece of legislation that protects millions of people. Joining me now is Elliston Berry. She's a part, and the reason why Melania Trump really championed the Take It Down Act. Walk me through how this has come, your life has come from a classroom to standing outside the White House.
Well, I mean, I'm just a normal high school student. When this first happened, I was a freshman in high school, so I was terrified to even come out of my bedroom, and it was really scary. It impacted my academics, my sports, and this whole situation was really awful. But then my mom tried to get in contact with anyone she could. She reached out to our senators, our representatives, quite honestly, anyone that had an inbox. My mom was typing away, and it went from me being scared to even walk out of my bedroom to me being able to sit next to the First Lady at the State of the Union. I mean, we came so far, and we got in contact with Senator Ted Cruz, and we were able to do more media last summer and basically just spread awareness and bring attention to this bill and how important it is. So it's been awesome. It's been a crazy experience.
Explain to our viewers exactly what this bill does. And we want to hear it from you. I know President Trump's going to talk about it earlier, but let's hear it from you. What does this bill do?
Okay, so AI nudes and AI deepfakes are not considered child pornography because they're not real, which is really unfortunate because it has the same situation awareness and it has the same effect as a real nude. So what this bill does is it charges the perpetrator as well as big tech. So my images were on Snapchat for 9 months before Ted Cruz was able to get in contact with them and take them down. So this bill really holds big tech accountable for taking down the images within 24 hours, and it also holds the perpetrator accountable with having jail time and up to a felony, because the student that did this, he was a minor, so he was charged with a Class A misdemeanor, so he didn't really get a lot of punishment, but thanks to this bill we were able to charge some punishment.
And I love the fact that this is a bipartisan. I believe it had not only Ted Cruz, a Republican, but we have some Democrats as well that got on this.
Yes, Amy Klobuchar. She's been amazing, and she's been a really big stakeholder in this, and really just spreading my story. And it's been amazing to have this bipartisan bill that's just about protecting the children.
Yeah, it's about protecting children. There's so many things in our legislation right now that does that, and that's why we need to come together on not only things like this, but there's other issues as well. Well, how has your life changed? I mean, do you see yourself? I mean, you're in high school still. college in your plans? What do you think career-wise you want to do?
Well, growing up, I've always wanted to be a therapist or help someone in some way, but with this whole situation, it's really opened my eye to the world of politics. And I definitely could see a future in politics, especially with being up in D.C. so many times and seeing the environment, see how everything works. This definitely could be something that I am considering.
Okay, I want to know her first impressions of Melania. She's such a classy, beautiful First Lady. What was your impression of her?
Well, she was just amazing. She handled the situation with such grace, and she interacted with me as if I'm just on the same level. And really, that's really how it is. But she is just so amazing. She has a heart for the situation, and her first term, her whole initiative, Be Best, is still in play right now. But she didn't really get a lot of the love that she deserved. So now it's really good to see that she is flourishing and she is doing amazing. And the fact that she has a heart for this matter and heart for protecting children is just so inspiring.
Plans for the summer? Are you out of school yet?
No, sir. No. Thursday's my last day, but I just plan on...
Let's just go ahead. She's out of school now. Let's just make it. She's at the White House. How much better can you get? So big plans for the summer?
I just plan on relaxing. I mean, we're down in Texas. We go to the lake sometimes.
That's what we do.
Oh, yes.
We do. Well, I'm so proud of you. You're a very brave young lady coming forward with this and really champion this important legislation that will affect millions of Americans out there. And so it's about protecting the kids. I'm glad you're here. High five on that.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Good afternoon and welcome to the White House. It's an honor to join you here today for the signing of the Take It Down Act, a national victory that will help parents and families protect children from online exploitation. This legislation is a powerful step forward in our efforts to ensure that every American, especially young people, can feel better protected from their image or identity being abused through non-consensual or intimate imagery of I and CII. Artificial intelligence and social media are the digital candy for the next generation. Sweet, addictive, and engineered to have an impact on the cognitive development of our children. But unlike sugar, these new technologies can be weaponized, shape beliefs, and sadly affect emotions and even be deadly. Over the past few months, I have met with brave survivors, deeply loving families, and caring advocates who know firsthand the emotional and psychological toll of NCII and deepfake abuse. Alliston Berry stood boldly for change, despite the risk posed to her and her family by speaking out and making her voice heard. Alliston, your voice and the voices of so many like you made this bill a national priority. Thank you all for coming together to prioritize people over politics. As First Lady, my Be Best initiative is focused on improving children's well-being, encouraging kindness, and creating a safer online environment for our youth. Today, I'm proud to say that the values of Be Best will be reflected in the law of the land. I want to thank my husband, President Trump, for standing with us on this effort. His signature on this new law is not where our work ends on this issue. Now we look to the Federal Trade Commission and the private sector to do their part. Today, through the Take It Down Act, we affirm that the well-being of our children is central to our future, of our families, and America. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the President. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Good job, sweetie. Want to sit down?
Yeah.
This will be the first ever federal law to combat the distribution of explicit, imaginary, posted without subjects' consent. They take horrible pictures, and I guess sometimes even make up the pictures, and they post it without consent or anything else. And very importantly, this includes for forgeries generated by artificial intelligence known as deepfakes. We've all heard about deepfakes. I have them all the time, but nobody does anything. I asked Pam, can you help me, Pam? She says, no, I'm too busy doing other things. Don't worry, you'll survive. But a lot of people don't survive. That's true, and so horrible. With the rise of AI image generation, countless women have been harassed with deepfakes and other explicit images distributed against their will. This is the wrong, and it's just so horribly wrong. And it's a very abusive situation, like in some cases people have never seen before. And today we're making it totally illegal. Thank you. Working with our First Lady, though, we've shown that bipartisanship is possible. I mean, it's the first time I've seen such a level of bipartisanship, and it's a beautiful thing to do. I'm not even sure you realize, honey, a lot of the Democrats and Republicans don't get along so well. You've made them get along, and she didn't even know about that. She didn't know we had a problem. She got a... But I want to thank you, honey. You've done amazing that this was done when you started. And I said, I don't know, it sounds like a tough one, and yet a very important one, and you got it done. So I congratulate you, and I congratulate Ted, Maria, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you, and we'll sign the bill. Thank you. Okay, you ready? Sign it anyway. She deserves to sign it. Okay, there we have it. There we are. That's a big one.
We'll be right back with more Sunday in America here on Real America's Voice. Welcome back to Sunday in America with your host, Brian Glenn.
We start today on this Tuesday in front of our nation's capital as President Trump is scheduled to talk to the House GOP conference this morning. It's all about the big, beautiful bill and making sure that the conference is all on the same page, as we have a certain division within the Republican conference on what cuts should be made, what additions should be made, and to get everything cleared up on that. So once the president leaves the White House, or he'll leave the White House, come to the Capitol, go back to the White House, where later today it is Take Your Sons and Daughters to Work Day. And of course, the president is having an event on that. I would imagine a lot of staff members, a lot of the cabinet members, and people that work in the administration will have a chance to bring their sons and daughters to the White House and find out where they work. It's not a bad place to work, by the way. We'll have that. And of course, we're continuing to monitor the rest of the developments throughout the week.
Mr. President, what's your message to the holdouts?
Well, it's not a question of holdouts. We have a tremendously unified party. I don't think we've ever had a party like this. There are some people that want a couple of things that maybe I don't like or that they're not going to get. But I think we're going to have tremendous, not luck, we have tremendous talent. This man has done an incredible job as Speaker. You know, we had a majority of one. We were one heart attack away from losing the House, okay? Now we have 7. That's a big, because we won some elections, as you probably noticed, and we're going to win a lot of elections. We have an economy that's roaring. We took out $5.1 billion. If you take a look, 5.1 trillion with a T, not a B. 5.1 trillion out of the Middle East. They're investing more than that. It's going to be ultimately more than that. What, 180 wide-body Boeing aircraft. They're spending money at levels that nobody's ever seen. Usually a president goes for a trip and he loses money. In other words, he gives money. We went for a trip and we took out $5.1 trillion. Nobody has ever seen anything like it. And that's just the beginning. So I think we're a very unified party. The Senate's doing great. John Thune is doing fantastically. He's a great guy. And we're going to have a bill, the one big beautiful bill. I think it's going to be the biggest bill ever passed, and we got to get it done. Tremendous tax cuts for people, tremendous incentives, tremendous regulation cuts, all these regulations that are so horrible. And now you find out what happened, because Biden, look, it's a very sad thing what happened, but we're going to start looking into this whole thing with who signed this legislation. Who signed legislation opening our border? I don't think he knew. I said there's nobody that could want an open border. Nobody. And now I find out that it wasn't him. He auto-penned it. Who was operating the auto-pen? This is a very serious thing. We had a president that didn't sign anything. He auto-penned almost everything. He opened the borders of the United States of America. And I kept saying, who would do such a thing? Allowing criminals to pour in from all over the world, not just South America, all over the world. They came in from Africa, they came in from Asia, they came from the Congo. The prisons in the Congo in Africa, these are rough people. The prisons from the Congo are empty. You know where they are? They're in this country. Who would sign this? Nobody would sign it. No sane person would sign it. You know who signed it? Radical left lunatics that were running our country, and the auto-pen signed it. And they didn't want him, and they were disappointed in getting him because they wanted Bernie Sanders. And then after about 2 weeks, they said, wait a minute, this is a gift. He'll do anything. We're going to use the auto-pen. And they used the auto-pen and everything. He didn't approve this stuff because when Joe Biden was with it, he would never have approved it. You take a look, he would have never approved open borders. Go ahead, another one.
Are Republicans still grandstanding in your view?
Oh, yeah, sure. You have a couple that will grandstand, but I think even the grandstanders should. Look, the alternative is a 68% tax increase. And you can blame the Democrats for that and 1 or 2 grandstanders. We only have 1 or 2, but we have tremendous support. But you'll have a 68% tax increase, or you'll get a massive tax decrease. You'll get a tax cut, the likes of which we've never had before. This is bigger than any Ronald Reagan tax cut. It's even bigger than the tax cut that I gave, because as you know, that's being extended and increased. So this is the biggest tax cut in the history of our country. Or you'll get a 68% tax increase. And if that happens, I mean, what Republican could vote for that to happen? Because there wouldn't be a Republican much longer. They would be knocked out so fast. But we're going up to details. This is I'm a cheerleader for this party, and I'm a cheerleader for the country, much more importantly for the country. But I'm a cheerleader for the party, and we're going to go up, and I think we're going to have a very good discussion. There are one or 2 points that some people feel strongly about, but maybe not so strong.
On one of those points, do you consider some of the proposals on the table, like co-pay provider tax, as a benefit cut? How are you viewing those?
No, we are looking at one thing. We're not doing any cutting of anything meaningful. The only thing we're cutting is waste, fraud, and abuse. With Medicaid, waste, fraud, and abuse. There's tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse. There's incompetent things. We have illegal aliens that are multiple killers with multiple murder records getting Medicaid. I don't think anybody minds if we cut that. The Democrats, on the other hand, are going to destroy it because they're going to leave these people on. We're cutting 3 things: waste, fraud, and abuse. We're not changing Medicaid, and we're not changing Medicare, and we're not changing Social Security. And if I wanted to do those things, I would have done it during my 4 years that we were
We'll be right back with more Sunday in America here on Real America's Voice. Welcome back to Sunday in America with your host, Brian Glenn.
I'm back at the White House. Now, President Trump is still meeting with the GOP conference on Capitol Hill, trying to, I guess, swing some of those members that were not completely on board with the big, beautiful bill due to several reasons. He's still there negotiating. We'll catch him on his way back here. Now, also, it is Take Your Son or Daughter to Work Day here at the White House. Walking in this morning, I saw several officials going into the administration building with their sons, with their daughters. I think it's a wonderful thing for these kids to know exactly where their parent works and spends most of their time. I think it's a great thing the president does. We're going to see if we can find some people throughout the day and get their, I guess, their kids' thoughts on what they think about their mom or dad working at the White House. Pretty cool. one of the great things the White House does here, and I think it's a tradition here at the White House, is bring your son or daughter to work. And Alec, I get to see you here quite a bit at the White House, but I don't get to see you that very much. So tell us, what does it feel to come to the White House with your dad and watch what he does?
Feels like we shouldn't really be doing this, but
that is wonderful. That's probably the most truthful answer we can get, though.
And that's actually the same way I felt the first time I came here. I was like, I don't think I should be here,
Yeah, well, I still feel like that sometimes as well. So what does it mean to you to be able to have your daughter here to see what you do here at the White House, reporting on all the events?
You know what? It falls right in line with everything I do with first-class fatherhood. My whole focus is on parenting, family life, the nuclear family unit. So this is great to get a chance to bring her to share some of this experience. And I think this is the most pro-family administration that we've ever had. So it's good for her to get a chance. Good experience, memories that we'll make together forever. And, excited for her to ask Caroline a couple of questions, maybe.
Yeah. Well, let's show what you got on there. You have your pen, you have your paper, you've got your notes. So first of all, are you out of school right now? Is it summer break? Okay, so this is
a little sick day today.
Oh, we're sick today. You're at the White House, which is not bad. Okay, so you've got your pen and paper. What would you want to ask Caroline Leavitt, or even ask the president? Do you have any questions on your mind?
I have a few, but I don't remember them specifically off the top of my head.
That's why we got the pad and pen.
That's right. We'll spend some time to reflect on those questions. But what does it feel like? I mean, let's turn around and look at that's the White House. What do you think about that?
I think it's crazy that I'm here.
It is crazy that we're here. Actually, there's a long campaign season. There's a reason why we're here. This is awesome. So as far as like some of the Family First agenda you talked about, what is some of the things that really stand out to you that President Trump has done to protect your daughter?
Well, right now he's talking about the $5,000 baby bonus, but of course, that's to grow families. But what he's done to protect girls in sports, he signed the executive order. I mean, so I don't have to really worry about her competing against men in sports as she gets up, goes to high school and stuff like that. That so many other girls have had to face. So that's one thing. She has to worry about sharing a bathroom with another boy. I don't have to worry about that as a dad. I mean, President Trump has been very, very adamant about that on the whole campaign trail, and then made sure he did it right away. So promises made, promises kept. So just simple things like that matter so much, that are obvious, that are common sense, that should have been done with a no-brainer. Trump got it done. So
any ideas what you want to be when you grow up?
Not really.
No. What are your hobbies right now?
I don't really know. I like to read.
You know what? She's on the right path right now.
Yeah.
She likes to read. That's good. Well, we appreciate you being here today. You're going to have a great day here at the White House. You've got your pen, you've got your paper, she's got her brain, and look how cute she is. She's got a nice little outfit and everything. She's ready to go. All right. Well, I appreciate you joining me.
Thank you, Brian.
Have a great day.
All right, you got
here
it.
At the White House.
Thank you.
Okay, it looks like the president is making his way back to the White House from the Capitol. We've got the motorcycles pull up. Let's see what happens. Okay, the president and his staff are getting out of the van. You can see just how big that motorcade is. A lot of people think that maybe perhaps the president is escorted by just a few people. He's got his senior advisors. He's got members of the press. Matter of fact, I see a couple of the press members coming over here. So when his motorcade is out and about, it is sizable and definitely gets some attention. That was so fun. Now, you may not know that much about me, but I'm kind of a big deal around here. Kind of Trump's guy or whatever. So I'll go ahead and happy to sign your book real quick.
No, it's okay. But is Marjorie here?
No, I'll tell her. I'll tell her you said hello though.
Thank you.
We have a very special press briefing. Right through those double doors are the most intelligent reporters, journalists in the world. Let's go check them out.
Good Good afternoon, everyone. It is such a pleasure to see so many beautiful faces in this room and so many future leaders. Hi, Eloise. You look so cute back there. I'm so excited to host this briefing today in honor of National Bring Your Kids to Work Day, and it's great to see so many future leaders here. Welcome to the James S. Brady Briefing Room. My name is Caroline Levitt, and I am the White House Press Secretary. I am happy to take some of your questions. And why don't you start us off, beautiful little girl? Go ahead.
What's your question for Mr. Trump?
She's thinking very hard about it.
You can ask it. You can ask it. She wants to know if Donald Trump likes to give hugs.
Oh, does he like to give hugs? You know, I think he does. I have seen him give many hugs to children and his family and our beautiful First Lady. So yes, I do think he likes to give hugs. You're welcome. Emily, would you like to ask a question?
Yes. What is the funnest part about your job and the hardest part about your job?
Wow. Well, that is definitely a very good question. I think the most fun part about my job is doing things like this with all of you in the briefing room and answering so many great questions. I think the hardest part of my job is also doing things like this in the briefing room and answering all of these questions. And reading the news is a big part of my job every day. I wake up and read the newspaper and watch the news and listen to all of the things that your parents are reporting on in the news, and that's a big part of my job every day. Thank you guys so very much. It's good to see all of you. Thank you for coming. We'll see you later.
Okay, the press conference just wrapped up in the briefing room. Now, earlier, Emily told us she was excited to get in there and ask some questions, so you had an opportunity to talk to Caroline. What was your questions?
What was the funnest part of your job and what was the hardest part of your job?
Okay, do you remember what she said on the funnest part?
I forget, sadly. Asking questions to the kids, and also the same for the hardest part.
Oh, it's hard. That is pretty tough sometimes. Now, did you hear any questions in that briefing room that kind of stood out to you? I know we asked about favorite soccer player. What was some other questions?
Probably the one that asked about the news.
The news.
I forget what it was specifically, but
I think
there were some questions that were good.
I think one of the questions was, what's your favorite news outlet? And what's your least favorite? Did she answer that question?
I don't know. Did she?
She said depends on the day.
It depends on the day. That's a good answer, for the way.
What's Trump's favorite McDonald's order? I thought was pretty good.
McDonald's order?
I don't think she said it.
I think she said a cheeseburger.
A cheeseburger.
Yeah.
He always a cheeseburger fry. He's a McDonald's person. Okay, so if you could go anywhere after this and eat, is McDonald's on the menu today for you?
I don't know. Depends.
What do you want?
My dad.
What would you eat right now?
I don't know, really. Honestly.
Okay. Well, how about like a smoothie or something? Something healthy. Yeah.
Always say steak or someone else.
Okay, so I'll ask you one more time. Do you want my autograph yet?
No, I'm alright.
No? Okay, I'll still look for Marjorie though, right? Yeah, she's not here. Yeah, I'll find her. When I tell her, I'll tell her you're looking for her.
Thank you.
All right, here you go.
This is Emily, and you're watching Sunday in America.
We'll be right back with more Sunday in America here on Real America's Voice. Welcome back to Sunday in America with your host, Brian Glenn.
It's a rainy Wednesday morning here at the White House. I should have brought my umbrella, but I can't find it. Okay, so we have the President of the Republic of South Africa coming to the White House today, as well as, I should say, the Florida Gators, NCAA basketball champions, will make their way to the White House. But when it rains, we have to kind of change things up. You can see at the stakeout area, we've got the umbrellas up to make sure the cameras are protected. Now, the West Wing there, that's where the President of the Republic of South Africa will make his way, motorcaded up underneath there, enter the West Wing. Now, today we will be the secondary camera inside the Oval Office, which means I'll have a chance to ask the President of South Africa or perhaps President Trump a question. So I got to think about that question and what do I want to ask today. Anyway, we'll think about that. But full day. Until then, we got to get inside. It's starting to rain.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's a great honor to be with the President of South Africa, President Ramaphosa, and he is a man who is certainly in some circles really respected, other circles a little bit less respected, like all of us, in all fairness, like all of us.
We all like that.
So we'll be discussing many things, and some of the things you've been reading about in the papers and the media. And I would say that, look, the President is a truly respected man in many, many circles, and in some circles he's considered a little controversial. But we're going to be discussing some of the things that are taking place in South Africa and see if we can help. And we want to help. Yes, please. Brian?
Thank you very much. I'd like to get your thoughts on Letitia James. Director Polte, according to him, Letitia James says that the alleged mortgage fraud was simply a mistake. I want to get your thoughts on that. She put down that her father was her husband in order, and this is very similar to, I guess, the false attacks they had on you.
Well, I don't know what it is currently, but Letitia James, who's the Attorney General of New York State, it seemed, I'm not involved in that at all. I know that it's being handled by various groups, I guess, but it's major fraud, mortgage documents, and fraudulent everything. Yeah, I think she said the father was her husband, which she had to have a husband, or so she chose her father, and she put it down, and she had didn't she sign in Virginia, yet she said she lived in Virginia, yet she's the New York State Attorney General. She did that for tax reasons, so she could take advantage of taxes. And she had the wrong number of units. She had a much different number, which wouldn't have allowed her to qualify and scam the government. So I don't know. I think she's very bad for New York, but I really don't know too much about it, but I appreciate the question.
President, decide what will it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for the President. It's for him.
I'd rather have him answer.
Sure, I'll do the answer. It will be.
Our President will respond to you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us around a quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me.
Excuse me, turn the lights down. Turn the lights down and just put this on. It's right behind you.
There's nothing you can do. There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. Yes. South African occupy land. That's who we are.
Honorable
do whatever you want to do. You can withdraw my membership from this useless parliament. Yes, honorable member. Must never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act. Shoot to kill. Yamaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa, brr, pa, pa. To kill. Yamaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer.
The mayor of DA in PE is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them hard, go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you have touched a white man. Not because Mashaba and Soli will not be touched. They will be touched, don't worry. But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness.
Shoot to kill. Yamaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa, brr, pa. Shoot to kill. Yamaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa, brr, pa, pa.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, we have not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't guarantee the future.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter, they freak out. It sounds like a genocidal call.
Cry babies.
Ulipul, sizogo shaya, uzotuchulwa. Ulipul, sizogo shaya, uzobalega tu. Sizobatula, bazobalega tu. Sizobatula. We will expropriate land without compensation, whether they like it or not. If they object, they can seek refuge in America.
These are people that are officials, and they're saying that kill the white farmer and take their land. That's what it is. And I have other friends in South Africa. I have people that left. One in particular that says you can't go there. He said they want to take your land. They take your land and they kill you.
So you denounced that type of language in the video that you saw?
Oh yes, we've already done so. As government, as my own party, we are completely opposed to that. We, in 1955, adopted a document which said South Africa belongs to all who live in it.
But why wouldn't you arrest that man? That man said, kill the white farmers, kill the white farmers. And then he danced, and he's dancing, and it's kill the white farmers. I'm not sure, but I think if somebody got up in Parliament and started saying kill a certain group of people, he would be arrested very quickly. That man is going all over South Africa, and that's not a small party. That was a stadium that holds 100,000 people, and I hardly saw an empty seat. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of representation. And those crosses, where you have dead white people, dead white farmers, mostly. And you take a look at Australia, they're being inundated, and we're being inundated with people that want to get out. And their farm is valueless. It's valueless. And they just want to get out with their life. And this is a very serious situation. And if we had a real news or real press or media, we don't have that because they won't talk about this because they're all guys like that idiot. But if we had a real press, it would be exposed. And you know, the beauty of exposing it is it's like a cleansing action. When it gets exposed, it'll get fixed. That's when it'll get fixed. But people don't talk about it. And I'll tell you who's talking about the thousands of people that are fleeing South Africa right now.
what an incredible Oval Office meeting that was. Now, that was the first time I've actually seen like video evidence, if you will, on screen played during one of these Oval Office meetings, something I've not seen before. Now I'm about to do some press with some South African media outlet. Let's see what they have to say about it. Let's go. So we're about to go live in South Africa with, what's the name of the network?
My name's Annika Larson. I'm from ENC and ETV. This guy is totally famous because with the whole Zelensky issue, we've all been studying it, and you were the guy who asked why he was wearing a tracksuit, and he wasn't wearing a suit, and that's why I went and bought a suit.
You look great.
But I was looking for a summer's day, and I looked like a popsicle.
No, you look, I think you look great. I love the color. It looks good on you. The skin, the jewelry, the hair, it looks good. Well.
No, but anyway, we just wanted to check, find out from you what you thought of the tone of the meeting.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're in the White House all the time. So
absolutely.
You were right in the center of it. Give us your impression.
It was a very, very heated environment to be in, and it was certainly very unusual from a South African point of view. It's nothing I've ever experienced before. You spend a lot of time in the Oval Office. What was your impression of today's meeting?
Well, I've been with President Trump on the campaign trail for 5-6 years now, so that's the relationship that I've gotten with the president. I would describe today's Oval Office as very emotional as well. I think not only did we talk about trade and economic policy, which is one of the reasons why obviously he was there, but we also addressed something that I think the media does not talk about, especially here in the U.S., is the fact that white farmers are being driven out of South Africa and seeking refugee status here in this country. That was the first time I've ever seen video evidence of what we were discussing. Whenever President Trump said, I tell you what, let's dim the lights, let's play the video.
Has that been done before?
I have not personally seen that myself. Not to say that it hasn't been done, but for all the times I've been in the Oval Office, I have not seen it. Now, I think what's interesting on that is it did open up a further discussion on this topic. If that video had not been played, perhaps we would not be talking about it as much as we are right now. So I think it was a very pivotal moment in that press conference. And I like the fact that my question about 72% of the farmers in South Africa are white. And if they are driven out of the country for whatever reason and they're not able to continue their trade, what happens not only from a food supply standpoint, but from an employment standpoint? And I think that the Department of Agriculture, if I'm not mistaken,
John Steinhetz, right.
Excuse me, I don't remember his name, addressed that. And he did. That was a concern of his. So I think that video was a pivotal point in that press conference. It laid out some evidence of what's happening. And I think it's important. Those farmers in South Africa deserve a voice, even if it's not inside their country, that it's here in America. One of the things that I was going to ask him towards the end of the press conference is they talked about the crime, the gangs, and we've had our share of crime in this country. And it also reminds me of a country of El Salvador. They had a huge gang and violence problem. Well, you know how they solved it? They changed leaders, they built prisons, and they really cracked down on crime. You have to be committed to cracking down on the violence in your country. You just can't talk about it and not do anything. So my question to him would have been, why don't you take a page out of the El Salvador playbook and crack down on this crime and set an example that you cannot come to this country, you cannot do illegal things, you cannot murder, rape, and assault our citizens, or there will be consequences.
One more quick one. What is the relationship like at the moment between Elon Musk and Donald Trump?
It's great. They have a very wonderful relationship. I think you heard President Trump say he didn't want to pull Elon Musk in on this conversation. He was not at the White House to talk about South Africa. He was talking about other stuff. I think he has high respect for Elon Musk. Absolutely. Elon Musk walked away from a country during the campaign and helped President Trump.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to get your insight. It's much appreciated.
All right, that wraps up a very busy day here at the White House. It's time for me to go home. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
We'll be right back with more Sunday in America here on Real America's Voice. Welcome back to Sunday in America with your host, Brian Glenn.
Let's spend a good 5 minutes with the familiar face of the network, Steve Gruber, host of America Voice Live. And you're at the White House, and it's a pretty cool experience. Now, what's your thoughts? I know you've been here before, but it's never old walking through the security gates and seeing the big White House.
I agree with that, and it never gets old because the news cycle is just going and going and going. It's always something. Either it's an executive order or something happens or a big headline or the Supreme Court makes a decision. So it's never dull here. It's always something happening. And always, when Trump is in the nucleus of this whole thing, it just seems that there's news all the time, whether it's him or something related to him or, a peace conversation with, Ukraine or Russia, whatever. There's always something going on.
Yeah.
It's intense.
A few days ago, we had the president of the Republic of South Africa. Big story there. Of course, the two big takeaways for that was President Trump, for the first time that I've seen it, rolled out the video screen and said, I'll tell you what, let me show you evidence of
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, what I'm talking about. That was an interesting point. What was your big takeaway from that meeting yesterday?
Well, I've been in South Africa a couple of different times, and it's been probably 10 or 12 years since I was there, but I can say this. What Donald Trump's talking about was very real on the ground in South Africa when I was there. Again, 12 years ago, I'd have to look at the calendar and remember, but it's about that time frame. White farmers were being targeted then because it's all about, the backlash to apartheid. 1994 apartheid ends, and, there's this attempt to reclaim property for the indigenous people of South Africa. And I understand all that, but there's a lot of violence that comes with it, a lot of hard feelings, quite frankly. So, yes, are white farmers being targeted? Yes, they have been as long as I've been going to South Africa. So I think that what he showed was important. Some people called it an ambush. I don't think it's an ambush. I think it's just a fact check. I mean, let's just talk about the facts. You can understand why some of these feelings are there because of apartheid over 300-400 years. But at the same token, don't deny that these things are happening because the people that are there now didn't have a lot to do with any of that.
That's true. That's true.
And then you get things where, like the First Lady was involved, really pushed the Take It Down Act, right, which is another thing that happened here in the last few days. A very important piece of legislation to protect people from revenge porn and that sort of thing. So you get just a cornucopia of all these different things going on, and to me, I think it's a special place to be. It never gets old to me. I like being here. I've been here a number of times. I'm kind of jealous because you're here every day.
Well, we have rain or shine, we got to be here, which is difficult. But it's interesting, the history of Pebble Beach. I mean, turn real quickly. The history of this media area, and perhaps later in episodes, we'll kind of run down the history of this area of Pebble Beach and why they call it Pebble Beach. But, hello. There you go.
You're popular.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Very popular.
That was interesting. But you do have a lot of activities. I will say this, though. In front of the White House, now that Trump's back in, it seems like we have more faith. There's a person out there every day playing worship music.
Sure.
It's got Jesus loves you, and it's just really positive, faith-based messages. You have musicians. You have people playing. It's like a street musician.
Got, Paula White came in with the faith office at the White House, first time ever. So you have there's a whole different attitude, about all of it.
It is.
Right?
It is
a whole different attitude.
It's a whole different attitude.
Celebrate Easter, celebrate Christmas, celebrate traditional Christian holidays that have been, but in large part of many people's opinion, have been pushed to the side, and they're back.
Yeah, back. Okay, so he's going to be filling in a lot for me next week as I take a break for a few days and kind of rest and relax, recharge as this Trump campaign, or I say Trump administration.
It is kind of a campaign.
It is kind of a campaign
to get things done.
Never stops. What a week. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I'm headed off, and I'm doing it in style.
See you next time on Sunday in America, only on Real America's Voice. of one-way news?
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. Welcome to RAV, where your voice matters.
Mod 1, you are in the chats all the time, engaging with our extended RAV family.
Let me know that you're a first-time chatter there. I will definitely celebrate you.
It's really incredible. It's like a family there on the chat.
We share ideas and pray for each other.
My favorite show hosts are actually in the live chat.
When you're out for a date, you just can't wait to get back.
Isn't it just amazing, like the family?
We do hear you.
The chat is where your voice is heard, and that's the whole point behind Real America's Voice.
Real America's Voice, they got it going on.
Join Real America's Voice, where you make the difference.
When you are in RAV Chat, you are in the conversation.
Changing faster than anyone imagined. BRICS nations are plotting a new financial order.
Kills everything the dollar represents.
America's debt is soaring past $37 trillion. And now the threat is greater than ever. China is aggressively working to dethrone the U.S. dollar. They're striking deals in their own currency, building alliances with Russia and others, and quickly undermining the system that keeps the dollar strong. If the dollar loses its global status, your retirement accounts, your savings, and the value of your paycheck could vanish overnight. The cost of living would